We are going to go ahead and start our city council meeting. It is Thursday, December 4th. We welcome all of you here. I am Mayor Sherry Bingham and I will be conducting this meeting. We are going to go ahead and have a pledge of allegiance by Council Member Wilcox and then a reverence by Council Member Maragoni.
Please rise.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for the opportunity to gather as a community this evening and ask Thee to have Thy Spirit with us. We're grateful for the opportunity as a council to meet together and to enjoy the camaraderie that we have. We're also grateful for the citizens who have been able to make it out to this meeting and that they remain involved in city aspects and have their voices heard. We ask Thee to watch over our community and help us to remain a quiet, peaceful place, one where we can find joy and love. We ask Thee to bless us as we return home, that there may be no problems or issues, and that we may have a quiet night. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. So I just want to announce a few upcoming events we have. The December newsletter is on the website, and so we're doing those now monthly. Thank you to Morgan for doing our newsletter every month. So if you go to hoopercity.gov, you will be able to find that newsletter. Also, we have the Hooper City's annual scavenger hunt. So you can see copies out there. It also has been on Facebook. It's also on our website. So drive around, take your children, go with family, and there's different places that you can go and check off. And then when you have those checked off, then you come back into the city and you will receive your award for doing that. Another event we have coming up is on December the 13th, and it is Wreaths Across America. And we decided to do this just a couple of weeks ago, but we're really happy that we have 159 wreaths that have been donated to put on the veterans' graves at Hooper Cemetery. So it's going to be on the 13th at 10 o'clock in the morning. There will be a short 10-minute program. We'll have the national anthem. Hooper School Choir is going to sing. There will be someone from every branch of the military that will come. And then the wreaths will be taken and put on the graves. We have about 450 veterans in our cemetery, and we're hoping by next year we'll be able to get enough. We can put one on every single veteran, but with only 150, we can't. And so where we are starting is with our World War II veterans. And if any of you have been down to the military marker that's down at Hooper Cemetery, or excuse me, at Hooper Park, there is an old marker that used to be in the southeast corner of the park that lists the World War II veterans from Hooper City. And so we have about 65 names that are on there that are buried in our cemetery. And so we're going to start with those. And then our staff has been going through other World War II veterans that are buried in our cemetery. If you by chance have a family member that is a World War II veteran that is buried in Hooper Cemetery, come and you will be able to take that wreath and place it on their grave. So we think this is really a nice way to be able to honor our veterans, and it is a really nice program to do. Okay, the next thing on our agenda then are public comments. If you'll come up, you have 3 minutes. If you will state your name, Morgan will be the one that'll give you the time sheet that'll tell you, and when your 3 minutes are up, if the red comes, then you will be asked to sit down. So are there any public comments?
David Craig, 5646 West, 4000 South. I wrote this down so I stay on track. Good evening, council members and mayor. Thank you for the chance to speak. I just want to ask for the purpose of this that when I use the term mayor and council, you consider the office that I'm speaking about, not the person that is currently in the seat. And I want to address the proposed ordinance changes to the planning commission and the way that members are selected. I believe this new ordinance adds unnecessary complexity. I believe it introduces additional subjectivity and it shifts appointment authority in a way that doesn't strengthen our city. The proposal actually replaces a simple and effective process with a long multi-step system, and it requires questionnaires, weighted scoring, formulas, individual ratings, average rankings, and tie-breaking discussions. And this proposal, if adopted, I believe would actually slow down appointments and complicate a process that's always been straightforward. It could also require applicants to complete 3 separate interviews, since council members can't meet with candidates in groups of 3 or more without creating a quorum. So that would put a heavy burden on candidates and delays on their ability to fill those seats. The amendment removes the mayor's independent role in identifying nominees, and that I have concerns with that because that shifts power away from the executive role of our city government, and it disrupts the balance that most Utah cities currently rely on. The Planning Commission, by design, helps support the long-term development work, which is part of the city's executive function. The mayor is actually responsible for carrying out that work, and appointments that have traditionally been made by the mayor because the executive needs a consistent, reliable team to fulfill their duties. So when you remove that ability, you actually weaken the efficiency of the branch that's responsible for implementing the city's long-term planning vision. I believe the scoring system is also very subjective. Every score depends entirely on personal interpretation. 2 council members can give completely different ratings with no objective standard. The notes section actually shows how much personal judgment plays into the process, and the council controls the weighting of each category. So since those weights can be changed at any time, the outcomes could be shaped based on the scoring events. It doesn't build fairness and transparency. And the additional steps will slow the city's ability to fill vacancies at a time when planning decisions are critical and residents and businesses need us to be expedient. You know, I support a strong planning commission. I support transparency, but I believe this amendment doesn't accomplish those goals. It complicates the process. It introduces subjectivity. It reduces the ability for the mayor to do the job that the voters expect from that position. So I respectfully ask the council to consider the ordinance, preserve a simple, balanced, transparent appointment structure. Because look, honestly, we know government moves about as slow as a tractor with mud in the tires. We don't need to be throwing rocks under the tires too. Thank you.
I'm Stacy Greco. I live in Hooper. Since this is probably one of the last planning commission. Now you got me saying planning commissions. One of the last city councils that a couple of you will be at. First of all, I want to thank all of you that are up there because I know that it's not easy what you guys do. And after this last election, it has been absolutely horrible as a Hooper citizen to watch what a few of you have had to endure and go through. And so I want to thank all of you for what you guys do and standing up and doing what you believe in and, you know, coming here and giving of your time because it is really a service that I know you're not paid well. So I want to say thank you. A couple of you have really helped me and my husband when we had the drug alcohol rehab thing going on. And so I want to say thank you, especially to Council Member Maragoni and to Council Member Wilcox. And I also want to say that I'm so sorry for, especially to Council Member Wilcox, for some of the things that you've had to endure and your families had to endure. And I want you guys all to know that we do love you guys, and Bryce, we stand by you no matter what. We love you. And I just wanted to say that. And then one other thing, there is a sign in the public easement down by my house. I don't know how long that sign's going to stay there. I know it was the person that put it up works for the guy that was trying to buy the property, and it was all just a big hoax. I'm just wondering when that sign could maybe be taken out of the public easement. Do you know what sign I'm talking about? Does anybody know? Is there, I don't know what our ordinances are on signs like that. Does anybody? Huh? It shouldn't be there. It's in the public easement. It was a big hoax anyways, and it's talking about something that I don't think was ever really supposed to be. But as the city, I mean, can you guys take the sign down since it's in the public easement?
I can certainly check with our Public Works on Monday
Okay.
and ask about that. I know with the work they're going to be doing along 5100 West, that work will be starting in the spring. It will probably most definitely come down anyway, because there'll be some other work.
If we could, maybe it's been up there for more than 6 months. Maybe we could get it taken down now.
Yeah,
That would be better.
I can ask on Monday.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Ray Hancock, just last chance. Thank you guys for your time. Been a long haul for some of you, I'm sure of that. So I want to thank you for the time you've spent and what you've tried to accomplish in the city. Hopefully we can carry on something that appears to be useful and accomplish some stuff that maybe we think needs to be done, but definitely appreciate your time. And ditto to what Mr. Craig said, because I don't have the time or the phone recording to read all that he just read, but I agree with the premise that the change to the planning commission that is being proposed after having looked through that looks to be way too involved and complicated and pretty much unnecessary for our city at this time. But you know, I know you're going to do what you're going to do. So I'm not really in favor of it. Just want you to know that going in now. And again, thank you for your time.
My name's Rick Wells. I'm sure you already know me. You know what I'm here about. There's been no action. Councilwoman Margoni got a hold of me about 2 months ago, month and a half ago. And she said, well, we don't have any record of a complaint submitted. When the compliance people came out and looked at things, that was one of the first things they said. They said that structure is out of compliance. It needs to be moved. I told them the past history about it, that the people were told they needed to move it. It was ignored. I got a call from the compliance people. Like in August, they told me they talked to them, and the residents of that own that structure adamantly said, we're not moving it. So when I talked to Councilwoman Margoni, month and a half, 2 months ago, there was no record. I submitted a complaint. I talked to one of the gals in front the other day that deals with the compliance people, and she said she never got a response. I know Councilman Wilcox has been out to my place. He's looked at it. When the compliance people came over, one of them said, well, these livestock pens you have, they might be out of compliance. So I moved them. My deal is I've been going through this since these people moved in, and there was a loophole for them to get out of one of the major ordinances that they were in violation in. Okay, I'm just wondering, where are we at with this? Do you have any idea? I know, Madam Mayor, you and I have discussed it. Do you have any idea where we're at with this?
I can check on it tomorrow, Thurwood. I don't know that right today. Sitting here, I don't have those records in front of me. It's
Okay.
something we can certainly check on.
Because this thing should have been taken care of long ago. And while I'm here, I wanted to say thank you to Councilman Wilcox and Margoni for taking the time to investigate this. And they did a great job and I appreciate it. Every time they've tried to get something done, it's like they run into a roadblock. So, thank you.
Are there other public comments? Mr. Robinson, would you like to come up? I know we talked about in work meeting that you were going to come and you would have a public comment. So if you'd like to come up.
Hi, I just mainly was here to answer any questions if you have. I've talked to several of you today and the ones I can get a hold of and kind of went over some things but anyway, I'm with the Ogden Transfer Station and Mayor, you've been out to tour the facility and invite anybody else that would like to come out and tour the facility to do so. We're just mainly here because, the county's pushing this, in my view, ridiculous 20-year no bid contract with no pricing. And that's kind of why I've been coming to these council meetings and trying to just explain what the alternative is. Ogden Transfer Station, we opened that about 6 months ago. State-of-the-art facility on Midland Drive. Like I said, would be happy to give you a tour of that facility. We've designed it to where the accessibility is incredible, and so it's in and out. We can handle a large volume of traffic. We've got 2 tunnels for the transfer and like I said, it's just state of the art all the way around. So we can load these trailers in 8 minutes. We're very efficient on the operation. And so we're able to offer concrete pricing for cities who are interested. And it's something you can budget off of. And so instead of this up in the air, we'll see how it goes type thing, we feel like it's a great alternative. And we're very flexible on, we're willing to enter into and lock in long-term pricing for you. There would be a standard inflation adjustment with an index that you would know what it would be from year to year, and you could have that confidence in what your rates would be and what the rates are for the residents. So we also have had requests from some that say, hey, maybe we don't sign the contract with anybody, and we're open to that. We just want to be a good alternative. We feel like our rates are always going to be very competitive. Like I said, the service, we can offer any of the services that the county does, any of the residential drop-off services we can provide. And in addition to that, we offer the residents who want to bring their cardboard in, that's free. Glass is free. We've got all those amenities. So, and if the city ever wanted to offer a recycling curbside recycling program to the residents, we've opened that facility back up. So we bought the old Recycle Earth on Midland Drive. They shut down, and we bought that and reopened the MRF, and it's a bona fide recycling program. So it's we got a very high recycle rate. In addition to that, we built the transfer station. So kind of a full service operation there that we can accommodate. So, I just mainly wanted to be here as we feel like you know, that the gap between us and the county rates is only going to get wider. We've just got a very efficient facility. We know our costs now. We're right on what we projected. After 6 months, we're hitting it just right on, and so we're very comfortable at offering long-term solution for disposal, if you're interested in that. So mainly here just to, if you have any questions, be happy to answer them, but appreciate the time. Thank you.
Do you, question for you. Do you, well, we kind of talked about this in our work meeting. Will you take recycled oil and batteries and things of that nature?
Household hazardous waste, we will.
Okay.
So we're not equipped to take, and neither is the county, to take large volumes of commercial stuff. That's not what you're about. You're about your residents. So yeah, we do. And we take the green waste, we can do that. All of those drop-off services. If you just have extra trash, cleaning out your garage, whatever, the barn, we offer that as well. So
Regarding the green waste, do you recycle that green waste at your facility and then turn it into mulch, or what do you do with it?
we'll make an agreement with the sewer district, and you know, it will be recycled though. Yes.
Goes out to Slaterville, to the sewer
Yeah.
district? Okay.
That's the plan. Yeah.
Okay. We had another question. Oh, Saturdays. Will you be open on Saturdays for residents to come? And,
Yeah.
you know, it's a big cleanup day for a lot of people. So.
Right. And we'll just keep expanding that as the demand grows. And so Saturdays are a light day for commercial. Commercial guys can get in and get the routes done early because they're limited routes on Saturday, and we can get that all done early and have the whole facility pretty much available for residents. And we'll just keep increasing that as the demand grows for it.
I talked to you on the phone today about everything's trucked, he said, down south. And we talked briefly about a rail car future, or trying, and my thought is just getting traffic and trucks off the road.
Yeah.
You know, how do you feel about that? Do you have plans for that?
Don't know what's all involved with that, to be honest, to make that happen. I know the railroad, the rail spur is right there by our yard, so we have that option. But I'm not as up to speed on what those possibilities are, to be honest. You know, we've got there's a landfill out Promontory that you know, provided the volumes come in, and that could be an option in the future to get the traffic on going south, going out that way. So there's options for disposal as time goes on, but Davis, Weber, us, we're all trucking it south right now.
I guess our biggest question is the cost. You know, you probably charge tonnage or by the ton.
Yeah.
And we just maybe ask you for a proposal, you know, or something in writing that we could get from
We'd
there.
be happy to do that for you.
Okay.
You know, I mean, our gate rate is $50. But we could talk about different terms, you know, the length of terms and all that could play into that. So be happy to you know, talk further about that and get you a solid rate. And that could happen really quick. So.
Okay.
But it would never be more than that. So.
I know what your name is, but would you mind just stating it so we have it on the recording?
Sure. Yeah, Steve Robinson.
Thank you.
And then you do the weekly pickups too, right? You have that.
We do have
Okay.
cities, and so we are a hauling company, Robinson Waste
Right,
Services.
okay, that's
We've
what I
been
thought.
around forever, and so we've expanded into the disposal arena now. So
So I think they would be
What-
interested in that as well.
What other cities do you service in Weber County?
Just Riverdale and Weber County. Now we just bought Econo Waste. And so they have 4 different cities in Plain City and some others that we bought about 4 months ago. And so, yeah, there's 5 cities that we're hauling for in Weber County. In Davis County, we haul about 10 different municipalities. So, but yeah, love to entertain that too. So. Been around for a long time. My dad was in the business. That's all I've ever known. And he sold a national company in 1985 and I started mine in 89. So been around 36 years with the latest version of Robinson Waste. So.
Any other questions that council that you have? Thank you so
We
much for
appreciate
coming,
it.
answering our
Thank you
questions.
for your time
Okay.
and consideration.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Okay, seeing not any public comments, then we're going to move on to our consent items. The first is the approval of the revised minutes dated August 7th, 2025. Hopefully council's had a chance to look through those. Any questions on these minutes?
So the paragraph in question really hasn't been modified to what really happened. I mean, last time it said that the council made, I can't remember the wording exactly, but it said the council didn't make a motion. And this time, all it says is no motion was made. So nothing's really been updated to state what actually was said or what actually happened in that section of the meeting. And it should be pretty clear because I remember it still from 3 months ago. So I mean, if it takes me coming in and sitting down with whoever's listening to the recording and saying this needs to be recorded, then that's what I can do. But I recall that the council was in a discussion about this item. And during that discussion, our legal advisor jumped in and says, it looks like the council doesn't have any motion to make, so we'll move on. That's what I remember happening. And so I'd like it to record in the minutes that our legal counsel made the decision for the council, which shouldn't have happened in the first place. So I don't know if anybody else recollects that or remembers that, but why doesn't it say, why are we afraid to write that in the minutes? Is my question. So let's listen to it again, I guess is what I'm saying.
So you would like to have these minutes tabled and brought back to be reviewed
Let's
again?
table it again.
Okay, so,
That's my motion.
okay, there's been a motion made by Councilmember Hill to table the August 7th minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second is made by Councilmember Fowers. Any discussion on this motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the next set of minutes then are for Thursday, October 2nd. Again, has council had a chance to review these minutes? And are there any corrections? If there aren't any corrections, then I will entertain a motion to approve these minutes.
I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the minutes of Thursday, October 2nd, 2025.
The motion was made by Councilmember Northrup. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second is made by Councilmember Hill. Any discussion on this motion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the next thing on our agenda then is we have a public hearing for the Hooper City Parks Impact Fee Facilities Plan, known as our IFFP. So I wondered if we want to have Taylor maybe explain this a little bit, what it is before we go into our public hearing. And then after he's done with his explanation, we will move into our public hearing. And you again will be able to come up and have 3 minutes. So Taylor Stoffer, our city engineer, we will turn some time to you.
Thank you. So this process that we're going to go through is to update the impact facilities for the parks and trails. I see it as a 3-phase process. The first one's to come up with a master plan for parks and trails that we plan out for a 10-year period of what we want to see. That planning period, we get a lot of people involved in the steering committee. Hopefully it's people from the planning commission, some from the council and staff. And we decide what we want to see in the next 10 years. And then once that master plan is completed, then we do an IFFP, which is the impact fees facility plan. Kind of decides how much that's going to cost. And then the third part is an IFA, which is an impact fee analysis done by financial institution that crunches all the numbers and figures out what that impact fee should be. That's usually a process well, I'm expecting that process to take about 12 months. In the first 3 months or so, there'll be, I think I actually said probably May or June, there'll be a public open house to give their opinions and see what they want to see for the city. Then we'll finish up that, and let's see. Well, I make one correction. The master plan goes for the next 20 years. But after we go, this process is being funded by the Utah Outdoor Recreation Planning Grant. That's paying 90% of it with a 10% local match. And then with that process completed, we can increase the impact fees for parks and trails because the last one we've done was, I believe, 2007. So we're almost 2003. So over 20 years overdue. I know it's something the cities want to do for a long time, and now we got a grant for it. So that's kind of the process. If there's any questions or comments.
So with that, then we need to have a motion, and part of this process is by state code. We are required to go through this process. And so that's what we are doing. It's required that we do a public hearing. And so with that, could we have a motion to move into a public hearing?
I'll motion to move into a public hearing.
Okay, we have a motion made by Councilmember Wilcox. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second made by Councilmember Maragoni. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're now going to move into a public hearing. So if anyone has any comments they would like to make, you're welcome to come up. You have 3 minutes.
Ray Hancock. I'm not sure. I've been in a couple of the meetings when you guys have discussed this a little bit, but personal take on this is our facilities are being used a lot by people that are not residents of our city. So I would hope as you consider this down the road that you would, I think we're way under reimbursed for what it costs the city to maintain these facilities and use them. And I know there's going to be some issues when 5500 West is widened over here with parking and issues like that. So I hope as we look into this that we manage to have enough insight to increase these fees to a point where the city is completely reimbursed for the expenses that we incur. as these facilities are used, even by residents, but especially by non-residents, because I know this road over here on weekends is really crammed. I feel bad for you, those of you who live across the street, because you probably can't get in and out of your driveways sometimes. But I hope as you look into this, that you will seriously look at increasing these fees, so the city isn't on the hook for some of this stuff.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no other comments, we need a motion then to move out of our public hearing into our regular meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Motion was made by Councilmember Hill. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second is made by Councilmember Fowers. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're now moving back into our regular meeting. And we'll have more on that later on when we have the motion to approve that. So the first thing, we have a discussion item on city-owned properties. I'm not sure who wanted this on the agenda. Is there someone that did that wants to discuss it?
As on our city-owned properties, we have been leasing them out for no cost at all to anyone. There's some thought that maybe, as other cities do, that maybe there should be some fair market value involved or something of that nature, or that it should be rotated on a regular basis or something like that, that we should maybe make it more equitable for more residents of our city. And we thought we should have some discussion about that.
Can I put Darren on the spot? I know him and I had a discussion about this, and he had some good advice that maybe he wouldn't mind sharing with all of us regarding this and what
Right.
what we should do moving forward.
Well, the state code requires that cities, they can lease property, and the mayor, according to state code, can lease out property if it benefits the citizens and is, I'm sorry about I'm losing the word, but it benefits the city, has to benefit the city in some way. Some cities, other cities I work for, they require that if they lease property, that it has to be for fair market value. And if not, then it needs to come to the council for a vote. And so it just allows the situation to come to the council, allows all things involved with how that property is being handled to be discussed, and then it's handled by a vote. It doesn't require, the state code does not require that it's leased at fair market value. Some cities just have that extra code to say fair market value, but if not, then it needs to come to the council, and then it's voted on. So, I mean, cities do it differently, but that's pretty common that they would do that. But there are, to follow the state code, there's several benefits that the cities can get for leasing out their property for less than fair market value. I mean, there's arguments to be made that maintaining property costs a lot of money, and so that's a reason why it would be less. Does that make sense? But that's basically the conversation we had, unless you have any follow-ups.
So when it comes time to address a particular piece of property, how do we go about initiating that action? If we don't have an ordinance in place that governs that, then we just go off of state code?
If the state code would allow the city, the mayor, to lease out the property.
So January 1 every year, we say, okay, we've got all these properties. What are we going to do with them? That's the conversation that we have. We just decide as a council what we're going to do with them.
It wouldn't be the council's decision on leasing out the properties. According to, sorry, let me just make sure I have your question right. The state code allows the mayor to lease out property. Allows the mayor. That's state code. It doesn't have to go through the council.
At fair market value.
At fair market value. Well, no, sorry. So the state code allows the mayor to lease out property for the benefit of the city. It just has to benefit the city. Other cities have limited that and have the code specifically say if the property has to be leased out at fair market value. And if not, it would be brought to the council for a vote. Does that make sense? So the city gives the power to the mayor that they have the authority to lease out the property. And other cities have come and limited that and said it needs to be fair market value. If it's not, then it needs to go to the council for a vote.
So what about in regards to controlling nepotism and leasing those properties?
I mean, if it's not fair market value, then if you have that code implemented, if you have a code implemented that addresses the fair market value situation, then if it's less, then it's brought to the council and those type of things can be discussed and then you would vote on what you felt was right.
So who establishes the fair market value? Because it cannot surely be just the mayor making that decision. Is there a mechanism to do that?
Their appraisals and
Okay.
cities would use like.
So as long as
appraisals.
an outside entity was appraising the value of it.
I'm sure you could put that directly in the code, but for
Yeah.
example, the code I have.
I think Ryan's kind of hitting on the real reason, because we have several residents that want access to a couple of these properties because they want to farm it. And honestly, one of them is right now farmed by a future city council member and the other one is by the mayor's son. And so I know our public works guy leased one several years ago and he took a rash of crap for whatever because, he worked for the city. So I think we ought to play fair, I think if you're going to go that route, we probably ought to look at the state code for nepotism and adopt that as well, just so it's fair. Because I think other people should have access to it as well. But I think that's what Ryan was trying to get at.
Yeah, so if the only time the council gets to decide is if it's for less than fair market value, correct?
So if that code is adopted, so that's if the city adopts or has that. code,
Like other
right?
cities.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct.
So if that code is not changed, then the council has no say whatsoever in it. In Hooper City, correct?
If we're just looking at state code in Hooper City, I would have to look at the city code directly if there's anything on it. I don't think there is, but I'm not positive
Okay.
we have some kind of restriction there on leasing.
So I guess what the council is saying is that we would like a code adopted in Hooper City, similar to other cities, that if we lease it for less than fair market value, that the council has a say in who those properties are leased to, and including a discussion about nepotism. So are you able to do that as our legal representative?
So I think, so they were requested, I've sent out possible codes that other cities have used. I think those things could be looked at, discussed with each of the council.
Okay. So since this is on the agenda,
Okay.
and it's possible that we can make a motion on anything on the agenda, I'd like to make a motion to task legal for Hooper City to create a code similar to other cities to do exactly as we discussed.
Is that correct? If it's a discussion item, we can also make a motion.
I mean, it's been noticed up so people can discuss on it. I've talked to the councilman about this. I would not advise to do this. I told them I would not advise to do that. I would advise to put it on another council meeting as a motion.
But it's
and
on
we
our
can do that.
motion tonight, or it's on our agenda tonight.
Okay.
And I'm making a motion to task our legal to create a code similar to other cities that we've just talked about.
So I have a question. Do you want that on every lease property? Because as you are aware, we have lots of lease properties So you're wanting to go back on every leased property because we have people that lease properties along the canal and along sloughs, and they have a 50-year lease where they are paying $1 a year. So are we going to go back, or if there's already leases that are in place, do we go forward with this from now on? Because there's also others that are family members that also have leases along those properties. Are we talking about every one? Because we have a stack probably this thick of leases in the city. Is that what you're asking, Ryan? For every
So clearly,
one?
if we're renting them for $1, then it's something that's not fair market value, most likely. So apparently we need to be looking at every single one of them if that's what we're leasing them for, because I had no idea.
I think, because some of those are by the slough and it's a benefit for them to lease it, to keep it, you know. I know several people have really made some fine improvements. I think the ones we're concerned about is where there's an economic value that is a benefit. I think those are the ones that need to be looked at. I don't think all these 50-year leases, I think that's a tremendous benefit to the city to have people take care of that. But the ones where there's an economic value, those are the ones that I think we should look at.
But if those are, like we just talked about, less than fair market value, then that's up to the council to decide, hey, do we want to continue this 50-year lease for $1, or do we want to change it? There's a lot of them that are less than fair market value. So I would suggest and motion that we take a look at it.
Okay, there has been a motion on a discussion item for the attorney to look at a code to change our leasing policy here. Is that correct, what you're asking?
Council member,
And piggyback off of other cities. So if they're less than fair market value,
I would be happy to
that we
just
allow the
take on the
council
task.
to talk about those things.
If you want to recall your motion, I'd be happy to just take on the task and without you making a motion for it. I'd be happy to take it on and then give it to you so that we can bring it to the council for discussion.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next thing on our agenda then is a discussion on the October financial statements. Anybody have any questions, any discussion on those?
There's a PowerPoint I just want to go over really quick. There's just 4 slides, I think, on this one. So end of October, we're 34% of the year. And so our budgets, our revenues, our expenditures should match roughly 34% of where we're at. So general fund, you can see the total revenues is 33.7, expenditures 39.7. Expenditures is a little bit higher because of our highways. We've spent a lot of money this summer improving our roads. And so you can see year-to-date actual is 1.2 million. That's why our total expenditures is a little bit higher than 33%, 34%. So that's where we're at. Capital projects, we've only brought in 5.4%. And that's mainly because of a grant for the 5500 West project that we haven't actually received money for. You can see the disparity in the figures there under the grant line that creates only a revenue of 5.4%. Capital expenditures is roughly 10.6%. Sewer fund revenues pretty much right on task, 32.9%. Expenditures are 35.9%. We had a couple major repairs in our sewer system, so that's a couple percentage points higher than where we should be. Garbage, pretty much right on task again, 33.6 on revenues and 29.5 on expenditures. And the last one, stormwater revenues 37.6 and our expenditures 22.1. So we're spending a little bit less than our revenues at this point of the year. And I think that's the last slide. Yep. Questions on that?
Okay, thank you.
One more thing, sorry. Like we talked about in our work meeting, I pointed out that the ramp grant revenue does not currently show in this year's budget. And we were going to ask Cammie about that, including the disparity in the tomato days and the $50,000 grant that we should have had already showing in our financial statements.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we're down to action items. The first motion then is to approve to amend the Hooper City Parks Impact Fee Facilities Plan, the IFFP, that Taylor explained. Any questions on that before we entertain a motion? Seeing none, is there someone that wants to make that motion then?
Oh, he's got a
No, I have just one question on this. Sorry, I was just kind of thinking through that, but does this impact fee does it also involve new developments that come into the city? Because that hasn't really been discussed. It was mainly just kind of, aimed towards those who are renting the parks and things like that. But this impact fee involves when a developer comes into the city, what fees he pays for the increase of residents that are coming to the city. And is that correct?
Yes, that's what the impact fee
That's what-
study is. Yes. And the
Right.
last time that as Taylor mentioned, it was 2003, the last time we updated our impact fees for parks. And so you're 100%
Right.
correct, Councilmember Fowers. It's for the new builds that are coming in. So first what you have to do is, like he mentioned, you have to do the plan, and then it comes back. And then after some open houses and they do some evaluation of what it's actually going to be, then you have the impact fee analysis. And that's when they will determine how much each new lot of a new home that's being built, what that impact fee would be assessed to that lot.
Right. So my thought was, as we were heading in a direction of park rentals from people that are using it, as opposed, we didn't really bring up the impact that, increased residences have on our parks. So if that's clear, I would make the motion to approve and amend the Hooper Parks Impact Fee Facilities Plan.
Okay, the motion was made by Councilmember Fowers. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second is made by Councilmember Maragoni. Any discussion on this motion?
I just have one thing. What was the cost associated with updating this plan? Where did that money come from?
So as he mentioned, we did receive a grant for this, and this is in your budget, and I can direct you to that page. We received an $88,000 grant for this, and our portion was $17,600 that we will be paying to do this. And if you go to budget on page 1 that was approved on June 17th, these numbers are listed
Thank
in
you.
our budget for this year.
Appreciate it.
Any other discussion on this motion? All in favor?
Debbie,
Just say
second.
second.
Yes.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, the next thing on our agenda is the approval of commercial business license for Stephen Hales. And so if you would like to come up and explain that to us.
I'm Stephen Hales. And my name is Ines Hales. He's my husband. So thank you so much for the opportunity. Actually, we have a business, a family business. We're planning to start. It's called Red Viz. So it's going to be Middle Eastern food. So I'm going to take care of it. Plus, it's going to be for people who have disease for like keto program for people they have diabetic or any other. So just I'm gonna work on that too in the menu. So we would love to share, to bring this experience here in the community. But we found out we didn't have in the plan. It's called commissary kitchen. And we didn't plan on that. We thought only gonna have a food trailer and everything is set up. But when we went to the health department and checked, we found out there is a commissary kitchen. That's mean it's called small perp kitchen. So we can make everything ready, which we're not gonna use it because everything has been set up in the trailer and everything is brand new. Yeah, prep kitchen. So we talked with the health department and for sure we need your approval for do the map here we have is in the garage because we have plenty of room in our house to have a little corner in the garage right here. So we have a garage here for 4 cars. We're looking for this corner here, which this is the trailer, this is the driveway. So this is gonna be a small chemistry kitchen. We just have 3 compartment sink and hand wash. And 95% we're not gonna use it because all the business is gonna be done in a food truck. So, but this is required for just park the trailer over there in the night. And so this is the law. And we hope you approve that because we didn't expect, we have 2 investments in this business. First of all, to have income like for this family, for our family. And second of all is to have our charity is serving 60 to 70 a meal for homeless people. So, but when we find out that there is a chemistry kitchen, I'll be honest with you, this is gonna save for us to have the second investment, and which this is the most important for us to have our charity in that business. And so yeah, that's all. And Stephen, if you want to say something.
Yeah, this is going to be separate from the garage, this prep kitchen. This is attached to the garage, but it's going to be separate from the house itself.
The county, they actually come inspect it, right? The kitchen, the county actually inspects that, right?
Well,
You just need approval from us to
Yeah,
have
just
it,
need
right?
approval, just take it mute.
Right.
And even if you see it here, like the sewer, we're gonna use it from the laundry, which on the other side of the house, so it's really easy to connect it to the to this side right here. Yeah. So, driveway. Plenty of room in our house. We have a big house, and so this is gonna be the trailer here, and this is the door, and this is gonna be the chemistry kitchen. So this is separated from the house, and the sewer is gonna be connected by the laundry and everything. The health department was really helpful with that, and they're okay with it to do it in the garage since the whole work is gonna be in a trailer. And we didn't expect that. We just like been thinking because we're gonna drive around in the area and to have other expenses to rent a land for, doing the business. So I hope really get approval from you for this is small business and just for that chemistry kitchen. So I don't know which you're gonna make it or not because we didn't expect that. I've been waiting for that here to talk and explain our business. So.
Well, and as council's probably aware, anytime there is a food truck, even if they are driving their food truck other places, they still have to have a business license in the city of which they live. So that's why they're coming to us for a business license, even though they will be taking their trailer other places. It's required.
Yeah.
Do any of you have any questions?
So the discussion about your garage,
Yeah. It's
that
just like,
that really you're just explaining that's how your operation works. It really has nothing to do with this business license application because the county will be the one that steps in and makes sure that the preparations of food in your garage is acceptable to then be loaded into your trailer and taken somewhere else to sell. Am I tracking right?
yeah. Well, we just right now we need 2 approval permits from here to do this plan so we can finish the process. So the health department, they just say like, we have to get approval from here to finish the process. So that's all, like, I don't know if you have any question or answer.
But they'll come and inspect and make sure everything's up to code. Right.
Yeah, it's just gonna be not big change. It's gonna be just 3 compartments sink. And the reason why we chose this side, because it's separated, like almost separated from the kitchen, from the house, and there is a door outdoors to the trailer, so we can just load the stuff and bring it in and take it out. So yeah. That's all.
Okay, so what we have before us then is to approve a business license application. So council, do you have any questions on this business license application? Okay, there's someone then that will make a motion to approve this.
I'll make a motion to approve the approval of a commercial business license for Stephen Hell's Red Fez LLC food trailer.
Okay, the motion was made by Councilmember Wilcox. Is there a second?
No second.
The second was made by Councilmember Hill. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, the next thing on our agenda then is a discussion motion amendment to Article 8 Planning and Zoning Commission 10.5B1 and 10.5B2. Again, I'm not sure who requested this to have it on the agenda, so is there someone that wants to address this?
We initially, when we changed to a 7-member planning commission, we had at that time mentioned that we would devise a way to choose new commission members to sit on the commission. And we had not gotten to that yet. So we have went through and done some research and checking with other cities and such, and came up with this way that we felt would be fair and equitable, and it follows in the footsteps of what we had set out to do, so that all members of the council, including the mayor, would have their voices heard. And we have that here tonight to go through.
So with this, are you planning, it doesn't really, I see the application and I see the point system. Are you planning on doing interviews?
Yes, there would be an interview, and then after they had filled out their well, this would all be done after their interviews, and we would go forward and do the count. Whoever whoever had the opportunity would fill out their scores, and each member would get a chance to talk with them. It might not be in person because we don't have the ability to meet as a group, and we know it's impossible to have that many meetings. So, but everyone would have an opportunity to talk with each applicant, if not in person, by phone.
So you're thinking if you do interviews, if I understand right, because we could only have 2 people at a time in there.
Yes.
So you would either have an applicant come in and do 3 interviews, or you would call them and
No, they
talk
would
to them?
just do you know how we've done them as a group interview? That would basically be what we were still doing. And each person in that interview would fill these out. And then the ones that didn't have the opportunity to be in on that interview would just would just speak with them by phone.
So we couldn't do a group interview with all of us. So the last time when we did one, our last planning commission member, it was the mayor, a city council member, the planning commission chair, and the city planner. And they all were in together as a group. But if we do it with the city council, then again, we're either going to have to interview someone separately. We could only ever have 2 at a time. So with 6 of us, we would have to then, if all of us wanted a chance to interview them, which if that's what you're saying would be a good idea, then we'd have to have them come in for 3 separate interviews. Or if there's only 2 of them in there, then the rest are either going to have to call them or.
Well, they could be interviewed by phone. If they wanted to be interviewed personally, then we would be available to do that. But it would just merely be like we've been doing. And those that didn't have an interview in person could be interviewed by phone. There's really no difference in the way that we have been interviewing them.
Well, I think too, that an easy way around this is you review their application, just like a job interview. And if a council member wants to reach out to them, make a phone call.
Yeah.
And keep it at that.
And that
I think it's being maybe overly complicated, but I mean, that's how it happens in the corporate world. So anyway, that's just my thought.
Yeah. And that works. I mean, it's just a weighted score thing for each individual so that we can look at more of their backgrounds, their time and availability, and score them by weight so that we have a good understanding of who will fit best in the city, in the planning commission.
So when we were actually changing this ordinance, I reached out to every city in Weber County and Davis County, and there was only one city in Weber County that had it differently. You know, all the other cities and 98% of the cities in Utah, the planning commission is mayor appointed with consent and approval of city council. Then we changed ours and it said by this, it was going to be a collective identity, which at the time we didn't really ever address that. So I did reach out to the city today, which is Far West City, and they're the one that does it differently than the mayor appoint. And they actually have a committee which consists of the mayor, the city council, and they have 3 members from their planning commission that interview the person. So I would like to see, you know, I agree this was never very clear when we did this. And at the time, I remember saying we need to, so I would like to see possibly a committee. And like I said, when we did our last one, that's what we did. There was the mayor, a city council, a planning commission member, and the planning commission chair and the city planner. I have a few reservations. This is quite a complicated scoring system. I tried to go through it and figure out when you go into weighted scores. I noticed it also mentioned about attaching resumes, references, which is again, quite a complicated process for a planning commission member. So, you know, those were some of my concerns. I would like to, I appreciate the interview process. You know, I was one that felt like that was important to do an interview process, and we did that on more than one occasion.
Can I talk about that? Last time we did that. And I was, you know, I think I was the council member in on the interview process, and I felt like that went well. It seems like the discussion we had after we were done interviewing was just for each committee member to say, what do you think? What were their strong points? What were their weak points? And I almost felt like we came to a consensus as a committee who to recommend to the city council for approval in that committee. And I think the weighted system is almost a piggyback of what we did verbally. Does that make sense? So I think the committee came to a consensus pretty quickly on who we were going to recommend for approval or disapproval. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, the council had to approve that person anyway. So, I mean, I guess like in number 5, where it says mayor, council 1, 2, 3, 4, you could almost replace that with mayor, council, planning commission chair, planner as
And we
the headings.
Yeah, we could do that. We just need to put something in place in writing,
Mhm.
since we have not done that.
I also think, you probably shouldn't discount, oh, it's just a planning commission, because they're
Right.
actually taking roles.
Right.
They're taking responsibilities of this, that we used to have, the city council. So if it's a little bit more of a timely process because you get the right person, then so be it, because the
Right.
responsibility shouldn't be discounted. They're not
Exactly.
just planning commission members. They are a very important part of this city.
Exactly.
And I agree with that. I don't think anyone's discounting what the planning commission does. This is just a pretty technical system. And I agree with Ryan. I thought it went really well last time, and I think our ordinance could state, because right now, when it talks about collectively, we never really did ever say what that was going to mean. So I think we could have something in place that by committee, which, like I mentioned with Far West, their ordinance actually states, and that could be also, again, something we could maybe lean on our legal counsel, or we could look at and see some wording we would like to have said by that. There always has to be somebody that then comes back and says, okay, I would like to appoint this person. And then city council always has the vote of the
Right.
approval of that.
And we could we just need to get something down in writing for that clarification.
Yeah, I don't like that real in-depth scoring system at all for it. I think that's just a little too much. I think we know what the position is that they need to fill. And I think like the committee with a yes, no, or a possibility, or, if the committee person wanted to happen to rank in order or whatever, that would be fine. But I don't think, like this person, I think could be pretty strong. This person's maybe not as strong, that kind of system. But I don't think the whole major point system is necessary. And then, especially when you have to do the vacancies, and then it's that big process of that again. What about, I don't know, maybe I overlooked this, but did it ever talk about how we were changing to the 4 and the 2 and the 1 year situation in that new?
Yeah,
amendment?
it does say that then after that,
Okay, so I
it
overlooked that, sorry.
goes into,
Okay,
goes into
so yeah,
regular
I
ones.
just think that the application itself is good because we do need to know, and a reference is okay, but that hard scoring system and the work that goes into that, or the time basically that goes into that, maybe not as necessary as just common sense through the interview with the committee.
Then I think we need to identify who would be on the committee and I identify that committee and how it would be handled. So I think we need to put something down in writing.
Far West had 3 planning commission members.
Mhm,
So how
they-
do they do that without it being a quorum?
Well, because if they have a
They
7-member,
have 7 also.
then I
Okay.
believe they did, but they don't have a city planner. And I thought that was well to have our city planner in there. So by the time you had the mayor, city council, planning commission chair, city planner,
Hmm.
I felt like that committee went well. And I asked them, I said, do you have a weighted system? I thought, because somewhere this came from somewhere, I'm not sure which city does this, but I asked them, I thought maybe this came from theirs. And she said, no, we just ask them questions. And then it, like you said, and then everybody just kind of discusses and says, yes, they have this strong point. So.
Okay, well, then I propose that someone write up something identifying the process
So the people on the
and the
committee,
committee.
mayor, 1 city council member, planning commission chair, city planner, who was the 5th one?
We did it. There was only the 4.
There
There
was
was
just
the
4.
mayor, city council, planning commission chair, and city planner.
That should be enough, right?
Yeah. So that needs to be written up. So I task someone to do that.
My next meeting.
Yep, by next meeting. So who wants to volunteer?
Probably we give this information to the attorney because this would be something that would be written up by ordinance form. So if a motion was made that you would like to see a committee formed of the mayor, city council member, planning commission chair, city planner, then he will draft this into the ordinance
Okay.
form that it would need to be.
All right. Well, I'd like to make a motion then that we have our attorney draft. Do I make a motion for it? Okay, I ask you to task. I'm tasking you.
Not
Same as
asking,
the
but
last one, right?
Tasking.
Okay.
Do you want a time frame on that, Debbie?
A what?
Time frame?
Could you have it by the next meeting?
2 weeks.
Okay.
It'll all depend if we have any other agenda items. If it's only this, it could probably wait till the beginning at the year. Right now, we don't have any other agenda items, and I think you're going to be gone, Debbie.
Yeah, I'm
Next.
going to be gone.
So maybe we'll just say our next meeting we have.
Yeah, the next meeting will be fine.
Yeah. Okay, so then the last thing then is a possible motion on approval of ramp grants. We talked about some of these in our. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so with the interlocal agreement, the county has asked that we do not do anything with this until after the first of the year. There are some changes that they are making in that interlocal agreement. And so they asked that we not, and it was already on our agenda, so we couldn't take it off of the agenda by the time they just let me know yesterday.
So do you want a motion to just table it then? It's on the agenda.
It's an action item.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
so I'll make a motion that we table an approval of an interlocal agreement with Weber County.
No second.
okay, the motion was made for a table by Councilmember Fowers, a second by Councilmember Hill. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the last thing on the agenda, well, next to last thing is a possible motion of approval of ramp grants for 2026. We had discussed this in our work meeting. I don't know if there's anyone that would want to make a motion of some possible grants we could consider writing, or if that. We do need to have an approval if we are going to write the grants. If you need more time, we can wait until, the last we could do though would probably be January, because they're due like January 13th.
Well, can we just make a motion on the list that you presented, that we approve those? Is that what you're asking, or did they have to be specific ones?
Sure, it could be on the list, or it could be on, if you have specific ones you want, it could be, is there any on here you would not want a grant written on? If you have specific ones, you could make that motion. If not, it could be on a list of possible grants.
Well, based on our discussion earlier, I would make a motion that we work for a major grant for new bleachers on the north side of the arena, down at the Hooper Park for those bleachers. For Parks and Recreation grant, a baseball diamond rehabilitation, including new LED lights. And again, that's down to the Hooper Park. Also included under Parks and Recreation, a grant for sidewalk from the large pavilion at the Hooper Park to the restrooms, which would also attach to the military monument and the east side of the rodeo arena. Let's see. The next three bulleted items I skipped over. I thought if those two items under Parks and Recreation, if we were to get those approved, that would be good. Under Arts and Museums, I would motion that we write up a grant for our Hooper Tomato Days rodeo events and the Hooper Tomato Days concert and dance.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, a motion has been made by Councilmember Fowers, seconded by Councilmember Hill. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Okay, the next thing on the agenda was city council comments. Again, I'm not sure who asked for this to be on the agenda, so I'm not sure who wanted to do that.
Okay, I would just like to take a moment. I wrote this down so I'd not forget stuff. So anyways, I'll probably do a lot of reading. I'd like to take a moment to express my gratitude as this marks my final meeting. In 2 weeks, I will be enjoying some well-deserved vacation time. I want to extend my sincerest appreciation to the council members with whom I have had the pleasure of serving. Over the past 4 years, I have had so much fun. Although we have not always seen eye to eye, I believe that our differences in opinion are a testament to the true spirit of democracy. Through our collective efforts, we have strived to make informed decisions that benefit the community of Hooper, engaging in open and respectful dialogue, seeking compromise, and listening to the voices of our constituents. While I may not have always made the perfect decisions, I have endeavored to conduct thorough research and act in accordance with what I believe to be in the best interest of our community. I am grateful for the relationships I have fostered with members of other cities and entities, which will endure beyond my tenure. I would also like to publicly acknowledge the dedication and hard work of our staff, who have been instrumental in our collective success. I must at this time also express my disappointment with the unpleasant aspect of Hooper that I have encountered. Despite being proud to call some of the world's finest individuals my friends and fellow community members, I am disheartened by the city's darker side. Had I been aware of this ugliness, I would have not sought re-election. Unfortunately, instead of addressing their concerns with me directly, some individuals resorted to posting derogatory and false accusations on social media. None of these individuals had the courage or respect to engage with me in person. It was much easier for them to be hurtful from behind a keyboard, which I consider cowardly. This was particularly true for those who targeted my family. I am relieved to be returning to my personal life, and I pray for our city and the individuals who have been unkind. I hope the new city council will follow their conscience and act with integrity. Working towards remaining a democracy, my prayers are with them. Thank you, Hooper District 3, for the opportunity to serve, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks, Debbie. All right, I've been tasked with a little bit of heavy lifting, and but I think it's required of me. From your comments at our last city council meeting, which was the 1st of November. We haven't had a council meeting since then. And so that comment has been drafted and some things have been want to be brought to light because the community asked for it. So I'm going to read a statement. Is that one too loud? Okay. Okay. At our last city council meeting, the community made its expectations unmistakably clear. Quote, Paul B. Kraft said, if something bad has gone on, then the people need to know. Cassie Brown said, we deserve transparency. Kristen Craig said, where's the transparency? What has the mayor done? Larry Ropoletto said, if you want people to trust you, you've got to be transparent. Jessica Smith urged, we need specifics, not generalities. Michelle Christensen said, if there's something serious, we should know. Sierra Hillstrom said, we just want the truth. And Amber Kelso reminded everyone that it's the council's duty to ensure the government operates lawfully, transparently, and with accountability, and that the truth isn't always loud, but it's worth seeking. These comments came directly from you, the citizens of Hooper, not from us. They show that the community is not confused or unreasonable. The community wants facts, not curated narratives. We want to honor that request. Over the past year, the Hooper City Council has documented a series of violations of city and state codes committed under the mayor's administration. These are not rumors or opinions. These are documented violations. Despite this, the public was given a very different message. Recently, the mayor published a post on her official Facebook page claiming that the council could vote to remove a mayor's powers without any proof, for no valid reason, or simply because they don't like her. That statement is false, and she knows it's false. The mayor was present in closed door sessions. She was aware of the concerns. The concerns were presented to her. She was given multiple opportunities to correct the issues. Her claim that she did not know why we took the action we did is not confusion, it's calculated spin. She knew the concerns, she heard them. What she lacked was not information, it was accountability. We understand that some in the community may have been frustrated or confused by this process. We understand that without full information, it can appear sudden or unnecessary. But imagine being in our position, seeing violations occur, being legally required to address them, privately raising concerns for months, and having them remain quiet while tried to get help and handle the situation responsibly. This was never personal. We were only trying to protect our community. We tried to resolve it quietly, respectfully, and responsibly. But when the problems continued and a public narrative was created that did not reflect the truth, we reached a point where staying silent would have been the real wrongdoing. If you have the same information we have and the same legal obligations we carry, you would expect your council to act just as we did. We're not asking for agreement, only understanding. Under Utah law, the city council is the oversight body for the mayor. That means when concerns arise, we're legally obligated to address them, not ignore them, not excuse them, and not hope they go away. This is why the council acted in February when violations occurred, and again in July when corrections were promised but never made. We're not acting out of emotion or personality. We're fulfilling the responsibility the law gives us to safeguard the city, ensure ordinances are followed, and step in when procedures break down. Oversight is not optional, it's our duty, and we take that seriously. We are taking steps in getting this information to the community, but we also want to do it the right way, through the proper legal channels, so nothing jeopardizes the integrity and the process of the city or the city. Our goal is full transparency, and we will follow the correct procedures to make sure every resident receives the facts. All 5 council members have been aware of the same facts and the same misdeeds and violations. When those facts were downplayed, dismissed, or denied, we're left with only one choice: transparency. Public trust collapses when truth is replaced with fabrication, and violations are dismissed as personal attacks, and when online narratives are used to silence transparency. We followed every required procedure. We saw legal counsel. We raised concerns privately, repeatedly. We attempted to protect the city, the process, and yes, even the mayor. Outside help never came. Warnings were ignored. Meanwhile, the public was told that the council acted out of dislike, division, or emotional. That narrative may be convenient, but it is simply not true. We also need to be honest about the timeline. This situation should have been resolved months ago in February when the violations occurred, or the very latest in July when changes were promised by the city leadership. Instead of correcting the issues, they were pushed aside, minimized, or dismissed, leaving the public confused and the council forced to sit on information that should have been addressed immediately. An apology is owed to the city, not for enforcing the law, but because the facts were never shared when they came to light. So we will apologize for our silence, our delivery, not our duty. We tried to avoid dividing the community, and in so doing, we have held back information you deserve to know. That restraint allowed misinformation to spread. It allowed assumptions to take root. It allowed the mayor's Facebook post to fill the gap with a storyline that was not based in fact. Our integrity was questioned because we chose not to defend ourselves publicly. The reality is simple. The mayor was informed, she was present, she was aware of the concerns, she had opportunities to correct the violations. The facts were not hidden from her. She did not lack information, she lacked accountability. And when someone cannot defend their actions, they blame others for the problems they created. When you first hear about these violations, it may be tempting to think, oh, so what? Does this really matter? But in government, even small actions can create large consequences. A single procedural shortcut can weaken oversight, silence accountability, and set a precedent that allows even larger violations to follow. It's never just one thing. It's a ripple effect that changes how a city functions. And when a mayor blocks information, bypasses procedure, or shuts down dissenting voices, it is not harmless. It is an infraction that weakens the very structure of city government. These actions silence opposing viewpoints, restrict free expression inside City Hall, and interfere with legal responsibilities of council members and city employees. A government cannot function when one elected official controls the flow of information, suppress accountability, or prevents others from fulfilling their duties. These violations do not just break rules, they break the process that protects every resident in the community. That is why they matter. This is why they must be taken seriously, and this is why we cannot ignore them. Because their mayor has repeatedly used her official Facebook page to communicate city matters, provide updates, and publicly comment on this situation, it has effectively become a primary source of information for the community. When a personal platform is used in this way, it functions as an official communication channel, and that raises significant questions about transparency, fairness, and equal access to information. Once a platform is used for government messaging, it carries a responsibility to ensure the public receives complete and accurate information, not selected portions of it. Failing to do so can create serious concerns for the city, for public trust, and for compliance with the state transparency elections. Since you've used your Facebook page to communicate official city information and address this situation publicly, we have created a document with what the city asked for, with the violations, and we are seeking legal counsel how to get this to the public. So the people have asked for it. So we are now asking the mayor, can we go ahead and post this on your webpage so people will know? And if not, I don't know, will you allow that?
Well, I'm not 100% even sure what you are referring to. I was made aware of a list of
Well, let me just, I'll
supposed
just.
violations.
So these are not mere allegations or fabrications. These are documented by multiple witnesses by this. So I'm not, so the simple question is, the people, the community has asked for it. Do you think I want to do this? No. But if I remain silent, then what? Yeah, this is probably one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever done in my life. However, the city's asked for it, the community's asked for it. So I'm not going to suppress that. So we need to find the legal way to get this information. It's in a document that they can view. And if they think it's no big deal, then that's fine. But we're asking legal counsel how we get this to the public, because we don't want to break any rules. We don't want to use our Facebooks as personal platforms, because I think that is a real dangerous area we're in right now with the information that's being posted. You what? No, alls we're asking, we don't need clarification or you to review it. We need to know the process to release it. Okay, well, I'll ask the other council members what they want to do, and then they can go from there. So this was brought up because the people asked for it. Not that I wanted to do it, because I sure as heck didn't want to do it, but I was tasked to do it. So it needs to get out some way, because people need to know, but we want to do it the right way.
So after you look at it, then can you give us a recommendation?
More tasks. Okay, so I didn't know this is our possibility, our last meeting or whatever. I'm usually the one that just sits here mostly quiet. I don't say much. I'm usually processing everything that I'm hearing. You know, I've probably been called the dumb blonde on council, and that's okay. I just serve quietly and try to make the best choices that I can, and what I felt from the heart, and not what people really thought I should do. I've learned a lot. I'm amazed at the work that has to go into running a city, through the staff, through the council, and the different council members that I've served with, and different mayors, and made friends and maybe some enemies too, who knows? But I've met so many new people, new Hooperites, through this opportunity to serve at the city events, at meetings and whatever, and I am grateful for that. Following in my father's footsteps to serve on a city council here. His advice to me was, do it, try it. If you don't like it, don't run again. Whatever it is that what you want to accomplish from it. And after that first little term or so, I'm like, I didn't do anything. I haven't really contributed. So I did run again because I wanted to do better, do more. I don't know if I actually ever did anything like that, but I served the community the best that I could. And maybe there's plenty of people glad to see me done. I don't know. And that's okay. Life right now is going to be a little easier with things around my home, to not just have more things pile on. And so it's a good time for me to not be continuing in this service. I've had fun. I've made great memories. I'm just grateful for the opportunity that I've had to serve this community that I grew up in and will continue to be part of. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. I too would like to thank Debbie, Lisa, and Bryce for all they've done on the city council. It has been great working with everybody. I've been friends with everybody sitting up here for a long time, some people for decades. And if I would have to go through, I could list lots of ways that they have helped me, and just not here on city council, but in other things that we've had involvement with in the community. And so I really appreciate everything they've done. It sometimes is a thankless job being up here. They don't get paid near what they should for all the time and the work they put into this. And so I really, really appreciate all of them and everything that they have done. And I wish them all the very best with everything that they have to go, and with Councilmember Hill and Councilmember Fowers that will still be with us. I look forward to continuing to work with you, as well as our new 3 city council members that we will have. Our next thing on our agenda then is for adjournment. So if there is someone that would like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion was made by Councilmember Maragoni. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second was made by Councilmember Northrup. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion is adjourned.